Hi humans, it's MiKo and I wanted to do another good day, bad day. I wanted to do these more regularly and I think it's important to address why I haven't. I didn't really want to get too much into, my personal experiences with mental health right at the beginning of this. I wanted to get a few up, before I started sort of implementing that, because mental health is a very personal thing, and as I said in sort of the intro video, everyone has it. Mine over the last couple of years has really come in waves, and again I'll get more into that as these videos go on. I do want to do more of them, but in this one thing to really notice is you can't see my face right now, or maybe you can. I might put up a picture, but either way, I'm just doing audio right now. I'm not filming myself, and that's because I just don't feel comfortable with the camera on me right now, which is kind of strange for me. It's a relatively new thing, but as I said, my mental health recently has kind of been coming and going in waves, and the last few weeks I've just been having a really bad time. And I think if you've never felt sort of crippled by mental health, it's kind of difficult to understand, and if you have been, it's kind of difficult to explain. I'm a very productive person, I'm a very proactive person, and I know that I'm at my happiest when I'm doing things, when I'm making art, when I'm writing, when I'm exercising, when I'm going outside, when I'm seeing friends, when I'm doing things. These things make me happy, and when I'm in a space where I can do these things, it kind of sparks a positive cycle. I feel good, so I go outside and I do all my life admin, I get on top of all these things, and then that makes me feel better, and so I continue doing good things, and I eat better and exercise and all these things, and it works as a positive cycle. It's a good thing. But negative cycles also happen I was going to say just as easily, probably more easily, because if you wake up and you're having a bad day, you're having one of those days where you feel like you can't get out of bed, no one enjoys that. No one feels good about that. That doesn't make us proud. That doesn't help our self-esteem. That eats away at our confidence and makes us less likely to do more things. And so, for example, if I have a slightly bad day where I don't do as much as I wanted to, I spend too much time playing video games, or just looking on the internet at nothing, the next day I'll feel really annoyed at myself by the end of the day, and so I'll make extra plans for the next day. I'll say, right, tomorrow I'm going to make up for everything that I should have done yesterday but I didn't do, and I'm going to do all this other stuff as well as the stuff that I also had planned for this day. I'm going to make it the most productive day ever. And sometimes that works. Sometimes sort of pushing myself that way can be really effective for me, but a lot of the time it overwhelms me, and I will just end up feeling more and more guilty, and then I'll feel like I've got more and more stuff to do, and then it becomes more and more difficult. The cloud gets bigger and darker, the weight on my shoulders gets heavier and keeps me stuck where I am. Hard. And there are days where I do nothing, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's important to be able to have a day off, especially if like myself, you're self-employed, you're in charge of how much you work. It's important to not overwhelm yourself and not exhaust yourself, but that needs to still be structured. My problem personally is I get distracted too easily, and so I never really feel like I've done a full day's work, and so I never really feel like I've earned a full day off. So even when I try and have a day of not doing anything, I'm still doing little bits here and there. I'm sending some emails, or I'm writing down plans, and likewise the other way around. I never have a full 8 hours of just get to the grind, do all my stuff. I get distracted by cat videos and getting snacks and sitting down. Anyway, the reason that I haven't done more of these videos since since I did the intro one isn't because I've been too busy, and it isn't because I just got distracted, and the reason I haven't done these is because I've had a 3-week stretch where I could barely bring myself to do anything. And there were certain things that I had to do, certain commitments that I had. For example, I've got a dog, I've got a beautiful dog, and I love her very much, and that's something that's bigger than me. I mean, quite literally, she's a massive dog, but it's also, if I feel like I can't leave the house, it doesn't matter, because I have to. In many ways, you know, she's saved my life in a lot of ways, because, like I say, the last 2 years have been incredibly difficult for me, and since I've had Kira, which has been about 1.5 years now, you know, it forces me to do certain things. You know, I need to make sure that she's okay, and I always will. And having that thing that's bigger than yourself, or you know, when you don't place yourself highly up enough in your own priorities, it's good to have at least something that you do. Everyone's got something that motivates them, and my dog is a very base level of, I know that every day I am going to at least go for a walk. The thing with having responsibilities or commitments, like a dog or a job or a family, anything like that, things that mean that you can't just sit and wallow in how you're feeling, they're really good and they're really important, but they can also take up the tiny amounts of energy that maybe you had, especially if you know that you have these commitments coming up. Say for example, I'm going to go see a friend of mine. There's no way I'm going to cancel on that, because I want to see that friend and I know that it's going to make me feel better, but it will also mean that if I'm having a bad head time, that the rest of that week I might be rubbish, because I know I'm going to need so much energy just for that one thing. The point is, when you don't have a lot of energy, I guess, when you know that you've got a limited amount in your bank of effort on anything, and you know it's going to be taken up by walking the dog or seeing your friends or going to work or whatever it is, it can mean that the rest of the time you're sort of in standby mode. You're just trying to preserve what little power you have left. And again, like I say, for the last few weeks I've kind of been in one of those slumps, so it's been difficult to make videos, it's been difficult to do my writing, it's been difficult to hit my personal deadlines, to exercise, to cook. I haven't been cooking properly, I've been eating snacks or getting takeaways or just not eating. And when I do that, it doesn't make me feel better. Obviously, you need good food to fuel your body, but also the self-esteem of saying, why haven't I put on a washing today? Why haven't I done the dishes? Well, I didn't need to do the dishes because I didn't cook. But why didn't I do these things that are simple, that are achievable, that I know in my head would only take a few minutes to do? There's times where I say, right, I'm going to do 20 push-ups, you know, just something small. 20 push-ups will take me 20 seconds, you know, it's not a big part of your life. But I just sit there and I look at the floor and think, if I get down on that floor, I'm not coming back off it. I'm just going to lie down. And that's not me when I'm healthy. That's not me when I'm in a good headspace. That's not me. It can be, as I said at the beginning, it can be very difficult to explain, and it can be very difficult to understand from either side. People that do feel suffocated by their mental health. Now, I've had depression and body dysmorphia, I suppose, probably my two biggest ones throughout my life. And I've had them for as long as I can remember, and I think I've gotten pretty good at dealing with them. I mean, they're still there, they're a part of me, unfortunately, but I don't know, you develop your tactics, your methods of dealing with them, and the truth is They're different for everyone, and I want to do an episode specifically about that, about the different tactics and techniques we can use and different people use and I use, because I think a lot of people are still searching for that, and that could be helpful. But like I say, we'll do an episode specifically about that. The point I'm getting to is I have my ways of dealing with these things, and generally speaking, although I wouldn't say I've had great mental health throughout my life, I think I've been really, really good at managing it. I think I've gotten to a point where I really know my head. I know what, sets me off, and I know how to bring myself back. I know how to create those positive cycles I was talking about at the beginning and avoid the negative ones and pull myself out of them if I do end up in them. But the last couple of years have hit me. It's really been anxiety more than anything, which is something that, although I always, had a lot of social anxiety, again, I felt like I knew how to deal with it. In my entire life, it wasn't until the last couple of years that I felt like I couldn't cook. I had days where I felt like I didn't want to. Everyone has them, but it's very new for me, feeling kind of helpless. And I'm still learning how to accept that. I'm not a very forgiving person of myself, I guess. I see people who are so busy or working so hard, and it's that thin line between inspiring and defeating, right? Anyway, I don't have too much more to say. I do want to continue to do these in video form, because I know, at least myself, I'm a very visual person. I like to see things. Perhaps you're not. Perhaps you're someone that would rather I did longer versions of these and they were more like podcasts, which, if you would like to hear, then let me know. I mean, I'd definitely be up for getting some guests in and having some prolonged chats about this stuff. But until I get requested to do such things, I'll carry on doing it like this in sort of bite-sized chunks to put up on YouTube, and to enjoy or hate at your own leisure. I will be back with video ones, but I thought I should do a quick one of these as an apology, as an explanation, to let you know that I haven't forgotten about these. I do want to do more, and I will do more. Just sometimes it might be like this, and sometimes there might be bigger gaps between them. I hope you understand, and I hope you're having a fucking wonderful day. And if you're not, I recommend you try getting one of those positive cycles going, even if it feels forced at the beginning. Stand up, raise your fists in the air and say, yeah! Just do whatever it takes. Jump up and down. Force yourself to smile. Hug someone, something. Find a dog, even if it's not yours. Hug it. Hug the dog, and then you'll have to run from the owner, presumably, and that'll get you feeling good as well. Find something, any small little thing you can do to try and turn, even if it's later in the day that you're listening to this, even if it's just before bed, try and find something small you can do. Make your bed, put on a wash, do the dishes. And if you really truly feel like you can't do any of that, don't do anything if you're incapable of it. I don't even need to tell you that, because you won't do it. If you're if you're incapable of doing any of these things, then you will not do them. So I guess me saying don't isn't really advice. And what I mean isn't don't do it, it is don't beat yourself up for not doing it. The only person you would be cheating is yourself. Don't worry about what other people think. If you truly can't do something, you know it. If you could have done something and you didn't, then you'll feel crappy too. If you know that you had enough energy to do something and you didn't, then you should beat yourself up a little bit about that. For that, you need to make yourself accountable. You need to say, yeah, okay, that was lazy. That's different. But if you can't, you need to be able to forgive yourself for that. You need to be able to say, it's okay, I couldn't do anything yesterday, or I can't do anything today. Let's see if we can figure out what I can do tomorrow. Even if it's writing down a list, a very small list of basic things, like make the bed, like go for a walk, but just consider the small things you can do. because some days we take leaps and bounds and some days it's just baby steps or crawls. Some days it feels like we're going backwards, but we're always moving, we can't help it. I try to think about my mental health, and I don't know if this is good or bad or right or wrong, you might disagree, but I try and think of it like any other type of health, I guess, like fitness. I'm constantly trying to work out my brain right now and get it stronger. I guess think about it this way: if I was running, and I'm terrible at running, by the way, I hate running. But I can play basketball for 3 hours, so I know it's not an actual cardio thing, it's a mental thing, right? It's a psychological thing. I hate running, and so I tell myself I'm tired way before I actually am. But if I feel a little bit tired and I stop, or if I'm, doing a push-up or whatever, and I know I could do more, but I stop because it gets a little bit tough, that's not good enough for me. I gotta keep pushing. But if I run until my legs can't move and then I stop, that's okay. Even if other people can run further than that, I'll never be a marathon runner or anything like that. That's what I'm trying to do, I guess, with my mental health. It hurts constantly. I'm tired constantly, but that doesn't mean I can't keep pushing a little. And that's what I'm currently working on, is getting that balance right between pushing myself a little bit further. You can do a little bit more without feeling crap if I don't, without beating myself up if I don't, understanding the difference between being exhausted and being just a little bit tired. It's kind of difficult to do that. If you're lifting weights, it's really easy because you know what your limit is when you can't lift anymore. If you can't lift the thing, then it's too heavy for you, or you've lifted it too many times. With your brain, it's a lot harder. Anyway, find the thing that makes you happy, whether it be having a sweetie, watching Netflix, going out for a run, talking to a loved one, drawing a picture, doodle, write, scribble. It doesn't need to be a masterpiece. You don't need to write your next novel, write a story about a sausage who thinks he's a cat. Back with a proper one of these, hopefully in the near future. I got me a shiny new laptop, which I could definitely not afford, but it's exciting and it's here, and it means I can get... That's the other reason I haven't been doing videos, by the way, is my old laptop is really, really slow, and it became very frustrating to edit. But I've got a new one, and so I've got no excuses there anymore. So I will be doing more of them. Thank you very much for your patience. Thank you very much for listening. As always, stay awesome, stay you. I'll see you soon.